Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays to all of you who don't celebrate Christmas. That's fine. That's understandable. I have no problem with that. This is kind of a special episode of Hotel Charlie. It's not really an episode at all. Because of the holiday season and the going from here to there and seeing family and eating turkey and ham and whatever it is, stuffed shells that you guys do during this season, I'm pretty busy, and I have no time to sit down and record an episode. I tried to put one together yesterday. I tried to sit down and record what would have been episode 6 of Hotel Charlie, but as time went on, I realized, this is just a mishmash of things together. There's no rhyme or reason to the topics I'm discussing, and although it's usually me sitting down and just kind of rambling, I want to have some order to the chaos that is this show, so please forgive me for this, but we will be skipping a regular episode of Hotel Charlie this week. Don't worry, we'll be back next week after the new year with a great episode. I'm sure I'll have plenty of stories from the Buffalo Bills game and Christmas and visiting all my family. But for now, I have a special treat for you. I've talked about it before, but I have a Patreon. Hotel Charlie has a Patreon. For $1 a month, you can become a member. And this week, I'm going to take a video that's on the Patreon now and show it to you guys for free. That's right, a $1 value for free. So imagine, just take this as a gift from me to you. I'm giving it to you for free. This story is about Colin and I. When we drove across the country from Utah to Pennsylvania, we sat down and recorded the entire trip, or a recap of the entire trip. We're sitting in Colin's apartment telling the story. It took us 2 hours to record. I broke it into 2 one-hour parts, and this is going to be part 1 of that story. So that's all you need to know about it. I think there's some funny things we get into along the way. There's some cool things we did along the way. We saw Albuquerque. We went to the Grand Canyon. We went to Salt Lake City. We saw a lot of stuff from Dumb and Dumber. So if that interests you, if you want to see Colin, who hasn't been on the show in a while, if you want to see Colin, he's going to be in this. We're going to be sitting down and talking. So I guess without any further ado, everybody, this is part 1. And if you want to see part 2 when you're all done with this, it's over on the Patreon. Like I said, it's only $1 a month. And think about it this way. The only couple things on the Patreon now are part 1 and 2 of this show, of this recap of the country driving across the country drive-along. And this one's for free, and if you want to see the second one, it's only $1. And you can do this. You can watch it, pay $1, watch part 2, and then delete it. But it's only $1. For Christmas, that's not too much to ask. So if you're interested, go over there, but without any further ado, for real, check it out. This is part 1 of Colin and Harrison's awesome road trip across America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to the first Patreon exclusive for Hotel Charlie. Hang on. I don't know how to do this stuff. Welcome, everybody, to the Patreon exclusive portion of Hotel Charlie. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone who's paying the way to success on this channel. I'm sitting here with Colin Blair. You all know him from season 1. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming to my apartment.
Thank you for having me. It's freezing in here, by the way, so
Yep.
If you see us shivering, that's why. Colin's recently moved in and has yet to have turned on the heat. And it's about 26 degrees outside, so it's about 27 degrees in here. This is the first time we're in person on this show. Colin and I usually sit across computer screens from each other, sitting on Zoom calls. Anyway, whatever. Colin, I brought you here today for a very particular reason. We just went on a road trip across the country about a month and a half ago. But I want to talk about it. We hinted at it in the first episode of this show, that this would be recorded. But we spent a week together driving from Utah to Pennsylvania and stopping a lot of places along the way and got some stories. I thought it'd be a perfect thing to sit down for an hour or so, maybe 3, and just talk about what happened. Maybe it'll be 20 minutes. I don't know.
Yep.
But I'll let you start because you flew to me. I was hanging out in Utah.
Yep. So the plan was I fly to Las Vegas, and then we take your car all the way back to Pennsylvania. So yeah, I flew into Las Vegas in the afternoon-ish.
Oh, wait, We tried to prepare a little bit before the show started, but we completely forgot your flight got canceled.
Yeah.
And now I'll talk like normal, not like a talk show host anymore.
Yeah, so I woke up at like 7 in the morning, and then at 7:01 a text from my airline came in. It said flight was canceled. It's like, well, great. So I immediately, me and my parents.
And you texted me, and we're like, my flight got canceled, and then I was awake.
Yeah, you were awake.
Partying with my roommates.
Somehow, because it was what time for
5
you?
o'clock for me. So I was talking with my roommates like the day before I moved away. So Colin texted me when he woke up saying his flight was canceled. Then I just texted him back and was like, okay, call me. And then that was all. But okay, go on.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd be awake. But yeah, you called me instantly. I remember. But yeah, so my flight got canceled. So I immediately started looking for new ones, which I found. It was from a different airport, but closer. Or pretty close distance. So yeah, so I just found a new plane, and it actually landed earlier than when I was scheduled to before. So I mean, it worked out fine, but yeah, it was just a stressful start.
Yeah, and then I drove to Vegas from Utah. I guess I won't say where because my roommates still live there, and they might not want me to tell that. But it was like a 2-hour drive, and then now I forget everything already again. I get to the airport, pick you up, and then we go to the Hoover Dam.
To the Hoover Dam.
We make it to one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Hoover Dam, and you can just drive in. The lady asked if we had a gun, and we were like, no. So then, wasn't that there?
Yeah, that was the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, so they had the government there asking if we had guns. We were like, oh, no. And she's like, okay, perfect. You can drive on through. So we just drove over the dam and parked, and then just kind of gave ourselves like a self-guided tour, just walking around. But the first thing we saw, the scariest thing we saw the whole trip was on the other side of the dam. I don't even know what it was for, overflow or something weird. It was just this giant, I have a picture of it. We'll be putting pictures up along with this story. And there was just like this huge concrete hole that looked like a skateboarder's wet dream, but it was freaking terrifying for us to like look over the railing. Yeah. It's just like this big pit. Because it went so deep, like you couldn't see the bottom. You just saw it was like curved in. You could just see like it was just this gigantic hole. So that skeeved us out.
Because we had to walk. Yeah, it was like we were walking over a bridge over it or something. So yeah, like I couldn't even look over the railing. It just made me, I don't know what it was. Like we were trying to figure out what it was, but it just made me uneasy looking at it.
Yeah, it was creepy. But like I don't know about you. I didn't have any problems. Like once we finally made it to the dam, like looking over that really didn't creep me out that much. Like it was still scary because it was so high up, but it wasn't, I don't know, something about that big pit put a pit in my stomach. I mean, there wasn't even much to say about the Hoover Dam. Like it was cool. It was cool to see, but it was just pretty empty. Like there wasn't a whole lot of people there. And then we say self-guided tour. Like we didn't go down or anything. We literally just walked across the bridge to the gift shop and then bought ourselves a hat and shirt.
Yeah, we got a matching hat. You're wearing it now. I don't have mine, but we got a matching hat and shirt. I almost got the raccoon hat. That was my first one. Yeah, I wanted that first. But it just blended in with my hair, so it just looked like I had a ponytail.
And then the only other thing I remember about that is the girl behind the counter was a cutie pie. And I was like, oh, I'm next. And the guy in front of me was like this 60-year-old guy who just bought like a freaking scorpion lollipop or something and a bunch of just stupid candy. And then he checked out and then stepped aside. So I went to go up, but then he kept talking to her. So I gave him a second. And then he just kept talking to her and just giving her all the candy. So I was like, this guy's making the moves on my girl. And then by the time I got up to it, I was already over her. So that was all. I just remember that.
Yeah.
We're going to think of all the minor details here for these stories, by the way, just to really drag this out. But I think that was everything at the dam.
Yeah, that was pretty much everything at the Hoover Dam.
And then we wanted to go to In-N-Out Burger, but we decided, we were like, no, there's one in Utah. Let's just go to the one in Utah. And then the more we drove, we realized geez, hey, well, it's my last night with my roommates. Like we were going to do a poker night. And if we stop at In-N-Out Burger, that's like an hour and I need to go to Walmart and blah, blah, blah. So we just decided to ditch In-N-Out Burger. We were going to go there some other time. And then we went to Walmart and just got like the deli fried chicken, like the chicken wings, like honey barbecue chicken wings or whatever it was. Yeah. Which ended up being a very bad idea, but we'll get to that in a minute. So then we go back to my house, and I had quit my job at this point for like a month. So I just had nothing but time on my hands to get everything packed. So everything was packed, but it wasn't in my car because I didn't want to pick up Colin in Vegas with just the car full. So I decided to put that off. But then we played
poker with my roommates until like 2 a.m. And then Colin had fallen asleep. He lost his money first and was asleep. And then at like 3 a.m, I woke him up like, hey, we got to pack the car. And our plan was to leave the next morning at 6 because we had like a 7-hour drive. Maybe, whatever, 4. And then, so it was like, yeah, what did I say? 4 a.m. that we decided to start packing up the car. And to my surprise, we got it done pretty quick. I think it took an hour, but I mean an hour to pack literally everything I own in the back of a Malibu.
Yeah, when we say pack a car, like if you were to look in the windows of the car in the back seat, it's just filled. Like it's like every inch of the car was used except for the front passenger where I would sit.
Yeah, that was it. And Colin, yeah, you still had to put your bag at your feet. Like there was just no space for it. Like I had nothing of mine. Like we had a fabric roof rack that went on the car, so like all my stuff is just up on the roof, and then the only thing like that was like Colin had his backpack with like a charger in it, and that was about it. So then, but that was also we fall asleep that night at 5, and I
know we considered, or maybe we did, like maybe we shouldn't sleep at all. Like I figured like if we're gonna wake up at 7 and it's already 4:30, I don't think I'm even gonna bother sleeping. I might just be better off.
Which we've done that a lot. That happens a lot where you and I have something important to do the next day and we decide let's just stay up all night because we'll just sit and just BS with each other for freaking 6 hours and then it's time to go. Because we did that. We visited our grandparents in Florida after graduating college, and you went to school at Pitt, so we were gonna fly out of Pitt. And the flight was at like 6 a.m. It was early in the morning,
really early,
and we were going to get there at like 4, and I think we were up till 3, just like trying to occupy our time until it was time to go. But then we ended up just falling asleep for like an hour.
Yeah.
So we do that a lot. But it would have been a bad idea to do that because it's the first day of a 7-day road trip, and the only thing that would have done is just make us tired for the entire thing. So we did get some sleep. I think we got about an hour and a half. Or we woke up at 7. We were going to wake up at 6, but we decided to shut the alarms off and just wake up at 7. And we started towards Zion National Park in Utah. And I'll let you take over. I don't remember there being anything crazy, but I've been napping for a while.
I mean, yeah, like I'd never been out west before. So I drove into Zion. And like, yeah, everything just becomes red, so it's cool. I mean, it's awesome going in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I drove and we just did the driving tour. So there's little overlooks as we went through. I don't know how long in total we were there. Maybe like an hour or something, or an hour and a half. But
yeah, probably at least that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're driving and it was cool. And then like I knew there was some tunnel at Zion that I'd seen TikToks about or something. That's like once you come out, it's like, it just looks awesome.
Yeah, so we'll put the video of it right here.
So eventually we got to that point in the driving tour where there's a tunnel, but you have to stop. Like there was some booth and some lady stops us because they don't have 2 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
So we were sitting there and she said it would be like a 7-minute wait or something. And then it was at that point where Harrison said he had to go.
Well, you asked me how I'm feeling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you're prone to, when you wake up early, your stomach doesn't like that.
Yeah, my stomach doesn't agree with me. Let's just say that. When I don't get a lot of sleep. And I woke up and then immediately chugged a coffee and a Red Bull to start the day. And I had eaten gross Walmart deli chicken wings the night before. But I felt fine. And yeah, we're waiting at this booth for this because it's single lane traffic, and the lady said it's going to be a wait. And then Colin just turns to me and he goes, "How you feeling?" And I was like, "Feeling great."
I said something like, I said something about your stomach, and it like triggered your stomach. It's just so funny how your body works. Because immediately, you got so sick at the worst possible time because we're about to be in this long tunnel.
I was like, I feel great. And then his second pass, I go, well, now that you mention it, I think I have like food poisoning actually. So then now we're just stuck. And it was so bad because we're at like a national park. Like it's not just like, hey, we're at the Walmart parking lot. What are we gonna do? It's like, I was like, there's not going to be a who takes a porta potty up here? Like, I don't know, people, that's an hour drive at most. Like, I'd be surprised if they had like an actual bathroom. So I just kept telling Colin, like, I don't want to do this, but we need to turn the car around. Because the only bathroom I knew of was in the gift shop, and we're like an hour into the drive already.
Yeah.
Of like just driving up the tallest cliff in freaking Utah. So I'm like, we're going to have to turn around and go back down because that's the only one I know about. And I don't know how you talk me out of it because I'm just thinking of everything possible. I'm like, I have all my clothes. Like if I have an accident, I'll just change clothes. We'll just throw them in the woods. Like there's a garbage bag in here. I guess I could just take a shit in a garbage bag. Like, I don't really want to do that, but I'll be safe. I'll be fine. I won't die. Thank God it didn't come to that.
No.
But then finally we go through the tunnel. I guess you could take it from here.
Yeah, we go through the tunnel. And by the way, if you're ever at the Zion Park, like, and you go through the tunnel, there's like a big window at the end of it, or in the middle of it, and it looks like you're about to emerge, but then it's just more tunnel. So there's a lot of pump fakes in the tunnel.
Yeah, if you're sitting there waiting to get your TikTok video, it's on the way back through the tunnel.
Yeah, so when you go up, it's not the view you're looking for, it's when you come back out. So just an FYI for anyone going there.
But I had the view I was looking for, because as soon as we get through the tunnel, there's an outhouse. And I was like, oh my God, like.
Literally as soon as you come out of the tunnel, there's a bathroom.
Yeah, so birds start chirping and the grass is greener. And I just tell Colin to freaking pull over as quick as he can. And he does, and I just sprint down to the bathroom. And then people are knocking on the door. And I'm just like, can you give me a minute here? I'm dead. But anyway, nowhere to wash your hands, by the way, which was gross. But I had hand sanitizer in the car. So then after I took care of myself, it was like, okay, I'm ready to actually start enjoying this trip. Because Colin had seen the TikTok videos, and I felt bad because it was before I had gone to the bathroom. He gave me his phone to record it because he was driving, and I'm just like, I don't even know why we're here right now. So I'm just recording. I just keep stopping and starting the recording. Like, is this good? Is this good enough? But finally, we make it through, and our friendship was fixed.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if there was much else at Zion.
No, because at that point we had a tentative schedule about how long we'd be at every place. And we gave ourselves like an hour or something at Zion. Yeah. And we were beyond that point. So after that tunnel, I think we might have just turned around and worked our way back down. It had been beyond an hour at that point. And I needed to go to the gift shop and get a hat or something. I wanted something.
Right.
And you had already been there, so you had a sweet hat already.
Yeah, I had my Zion hat.
Yeah. So yeah, we worked all the way back down. Got to the gift shop parking lot, but it was absolutely packed. Like,
right,
there wasn't
it's the only parking lot at Zion. Like, we did the driving tour, but if you don't do that, you have to take the shuttle, and there's only one parking lot at Zion to keep your car. So that was the only one we went down to the gift shop. And then since I already had a hat and Colin wanted one, I just told him, like, well, I'll just drive. Like, you just go in the shop and buy something, and then I'll just loop around the parking lot for 5 minutes? Yeah. And then Colin ended up taking about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it took forever. I kept going back and forth between what I wanted. So yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, oh, good, we're gonna run out of gas on the first day of the trip. No, it was fine, but that was all. That's all I remember as Zion. Was just looping through that parking lot for freaking forever. But then after that, I think I can't remember who drove. That doesn't really matter, but. Our plan for that night was to get to Salt Lake City. So we left Zion and then drove towards Salt Lake City, which I think is only about 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a bad drive for day one. And we make it into Salt Lake City. I mean, I don't remember there being much on the drive.
No, not really. No, yeah, I mean, it was just cool seeing the mountains, for me at least, because I had never been out there. So pretty uneventful drive to Salt Lake City from Zion, yeah.
But we get to Salt Lake City, and the first thing we want to do is the Dumb and Dumber tour, because Dumb and Dumber is our favorite movie, and it was filmed in Salt Lake City, so like their apartment is there. What else? The house.
The exterior of the ball.
Yeah, the exterior of the I can't remember what it's called. The Animal Preservation Society or whatever it is. Like when they get out in the tuxes, when they're dropped off by like a horse and carriage, like that place that's filmed at is right across from like the Jazz Stadium.
Yeah.
There was a couple other things, like where he gets the newspaper, where he gets his wallet stuck in the newspaper. I can't remember.
Those are the
big ones. And then obviously in the restaurant.
Yeah.
But we get into Salt Lake City. And put the address in for the apartments and get some pictures there. We'll put all the pictures in. So we get the picture at the Dumb and Dumber apartment, the newspaper place, and then we drive around town, like we said, to find like the exterior house where they shot the ball. Yeah. And then...
real quick about the newspaper place, because we stopped at the apartment, then we were going to go back to the car and find what to do next. And then I think we decided on the newspaper, and it just happened to be right around the corner from the apartment. So we're like, it's right there. So it is kind of funny when they filmed it, like they just went across. Right.
It was literally
just one block away and filmed that scene.
The other side of it, across the street. But then we're sitting in the car thinking like, the only other thing we knew was in Salt Lake City was the restaurant, which in the movie in Dumb and Dumber is where Lloyd like falls asleep and is dreaming about Mary, and then he like lifts her dress up and you can see her butt. Like where they filmed that was in Salt Lake City, or like right outside of it, and it's a restaurant now. And we looked it up, and we knew like this is a very expensive restaurant.
Oh yeah.
So it took us a while to decide like whether or not we wanted to go there, because at first we just planned if we went there it was just going to be to get a picture. But we're like, it's like a fancy restaurant / vineyard. Like there's no way they're just going to let us like walk in, take a picture, and leave.
Yeah.
So like, should we plan on actually sitting down and eating dinner here to have like an excuse to go? And we also had told ourselves like before we left on this trip was we're not doing any fast food. Like we wanted to go out to eat every night just to kind of like it would have been stupid for us to say let's take a cross country trip and then the only places we stop are McDonald's and Burger King, just to like that wouldn't have, I don't know, that would have just been stupid.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, maybe let's just do this. You know, we saved up for this trip. We got some money burning a hole in our pocket. Like let's just do it once in a lifetime kind of thing. I'll serve it back to you.
Yeah.
Because I keep burping. I apologize for the burping, everybody.
Yeah, because we knew it would be expensive, but at first, like, I didn't even think I had the clothes for it, because I didn't dress obviously for a fancy restaurant. But we sort of figured, we called them. So I called to make the reservation. The first thing we asked them was, "What's the dress code?"
Yeah.
And they just said business casual is fine. So that we could throw together.
Right. And I obviously had all my clothes in the back of the car, absolutely necessary. But we both had stuff.
So they said it was business casual, and we said okay. So we made a reservation. Then as soon as we made that reservation, we booked our hotel in this city that was like 20 minutes outside of Salt Lake City. Yeah, that was a cool hotel actually. And then we had like 25 minutes or so to kill at the hotel. So we freshened up for this classy dinner we were about to go to.
Right.
And then it wasn't that far from the hotel. So we made our way over, and keep in mind the car, fully packed, the giant car top package on top of the car.
Yeah, it's got everything I own is in the back of a sedan.
Yeah. So we make our way over to the restaurant, and we pull up to where it says to turn on the GPS, and there's this beautiful lit up arch of the name of the restaurant.
Yeah, it's like a brick wall and an iron fence. What is it, Lacal?
Yeah, Lacal.
With like Christmas lights on it, and you have to just turn in on this brick road.
There's this big arch, and it goes up a road. We're like, immediately, oh my God, this is not what we're, like, this is too much. We might have to cancel.
And it was funny too, like, to just imagine, like, are we even allowed to drive on this? Like, maybe this is for like a horse and carriage, and I'm about to just take my piece of shit car and just drive on the brick road like, hello, we'd like a table, please.
So we're making our way up. We're just cracking up the whole way up because we're just driving through these beautiful fountains and statues as we go up this hill, this brick road. Then we get to the top, and it's like a cul-de-sac where the restaurant is. And there's two guys waiting, like in all black, that work at the restaurant. And when we saw them, we're like, oh, do they valet the car? But we kind of stopped. I have a picture of them when they're looking at us smiling. So we pull up, and again, the car is clearly like, it's packed and it has the thing on top. So we pull up, but we kind of stop at a weird distance away because we're like, do we park ourselves or are they going to come get us?
Right.
So we parked.
It's like Colin said, it's a cul-de-sac. So I'm like, I don't want to drive up to them, because it's like, if that's not the right thing to do, it's literally me just like parking in front of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of awkward. Like it already was awkward, but now it's like, I don't even know what else to do, because my only other option is like driving to the front door of this fancy restaurant that's like 25 feet away. Yeah. Like it would just be very weird for me to do.
So they walked to us, and then
I gave him the signal. I flashed the headlights at him. And gave him the signal.
And there was I think they both got the car, which was bad because like there was room for a passenger in the car, but we had bags and stuff.
Yeah,
under
Colin
our
was
feet.
prepared to be the passenger. Yeah, because we had stopped that morning at Walmart and just gotten a bag of beef jerky.
Yeah.
And then, your backpack's on the floor. Mm-hmm. There's McDonald's bags on the floor. And I said we weren't going to get fast food, but for stupid meals like that, we just got like a couple burgers on the way. And then, we didn't say this, like, I had all my shoes in the car, but I was only wearing a pair of Chucks. So we wanted to dress casually. So I went downstairs and was like, well, I'll just take my Chucks off and put like dress shoes on. So I just changed my shoes in the hotel parking lot and just threw my Chucks on the console. So like this guy takes the key or whatever, gets in the car, and there's a pack of cigarettes in the door and a set of golf clubs behind him. All my clothes just piled up. the strap that holds the roof rack on, it doesn't clip to. I don't have a roof rack, so it's just fabric straps that weave through the window of my car. So this guy has to like duck down to sit down. And yeah, there's just a bunch of garbage on the floor. And we're about to go to like, I mean, seriously, like a $300 dinner for like the smallest, cheapest thing you could get there is like $45 for like the pieces of ice they put in your drink. And then we get there with this piece of shit car with this huge fabric roof rack on it and just go like, hey, leave it running, buddy. And then we walk inside.
Yeah, we can't stress that enough. Like the place clearly is for people pulling up in like a Rolls Royce or something. Yeah, when they got in the car, we're like, sorry guys, we're on a road trip. But then and then later, as we were in the dinner, we just kept thinking of more things that was in the car.
Yeah.
Because that's all we could think about was like there's the people valeting the car, just seeing the beef jerky and the garbage on the floor.
Yeah, like it wasn't until midway through the dinner that we remember there's a pack of cigarettes in the door and like I said, golf clubs, like just all that stuff just piled up, my shoes and stuff. Like I said it already, but we didn't think about that until way after, that like actually how much stuff is just in the car. Just probably just old napkins just in the door from like the 3 hours we drove there. But we get inside the restaurant and we're waiting for a table. But we go up, the lady takes us upstairs and asks us like, what's the occasion, gentlemen? And we just said that we're on a road trip, like you told her, like we're just on a road trip, we're just in for the night. So they sit us down, and it took forever to get our food, which was fine. I think that's probably just what it's like at a classy restaurant, is you're just supposed to literally, they have to go kill the duck or whatever you get. But while we were waiting, did you get an appetizer? I can't remember.
No, only you did.
I got the ratatouille, but we both got drinks. You got an old fashioned, and I got a whiskey sour.
Yep.
Which luckily it took us 4.5 hours. We had all the time in the world to sober back up before we had to drive back to the hotel. But then while we were like I think it was after the appetizer, I don't remember, but it was before our entree that we got like a waitress came out with a plate of like Wagyu steak and was like, compliments of the chef, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then that's all she said and just went back inside. So there was like literally like a square inch of meat. Sorry. They were like, this is free, by the way. It's like, well, yeah, thanks. I'm stuffed actually. I'm gonna cancel my order and go home. But that was all. I mean, we got good food though. I ordered duck, and it was the first time I had duck, and it was freaking incredible. And you got the salmon.
I got salmon, yeah.
And and we both swapped some, and that was very good.
Yeah, but yeah, we were so worried like about what they were thinking of us. Like if they were mad that like low class kids were in the restaurant or something. So, I mean, you said this, like, let's just go all out and make them not hate us. So you got the appetizer, we got nice dinners, drinks, and then dessert afterwards. So we went the whole 9 yards to make sure, like,
we belong here.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, we're not just going to cheap out when we're going all out.
Yeah, we didn't want word to spread that, like, these guys came in a piece of shit car and made them park, and then they're just probably thinking, like, oh, great, they're probably not going to tip or whatever. So we were just, out of guilt, spent all the money we had on the first night on our dinner just to make sure that they didn't hate us. But it worked, yeah. Like exactly, we just did the whole nine just to fit in. And also not just that, but it was like I've never been to a fancy restaurant, so I don't know what the unspoken rules are. Like, is it rude for me not to get an appetizer and that sort of stuff? Where it's like if they were gonna go, oh really, you should get one. I urge you to get one. But yeah, this is the restaurant that they filmed Dumb and Dumber at, and then the scene where Lloyd, like it's still that dream sequence where Lloyd like is at the dinner and throws the nuts in his face and then lights his fart. That was, we found online, someone said that they filmed that at the restaurant, and then you'll have to remind me like how it was written on.
Yeah, we knew. It said it's on the second floor of the restaurant, which like when you walk in the restaurant, there's a little lobby, and then you go upstairs. So that's where we ate. That's where the dining room is. And we were just kind of, because there was a fireplace there, but it didn't really look like it, but we sort of just figured this must be it.
Yeah.
But we could see another spiral staircase in the back. So we said, well, maybe this is technically the first floor, and then that leads to the room we're actually looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So we order our food, eat all our dinner, get dessert. I don't even know what I got for dessert, honestly.
I don't know either.
Whatever. And the waiter comes over with the bill, and whatever, we pay it, and he comes back to take it. And before he walks away, he's like, hey, have a nice night, gentlemen. But I was like, actually, one more thing. Do you mind if we go upstairs? And then he was like, what for? It's kind of just an office up there. I was like, I just want to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to reveal to this guy who thought we were like, thinks we're an asshole. And then we convince him we're fancy. And then the last thing I say to him is like, oh, Dumb and Dumber was filmed here, so I really got to go up there. So I was just like, oh, I don't know. It just intrigues me. Going upstairs would be fascinating. So he's like, okay, we can go up there. And he takes Colin and me up there. And we recognize right away, like, this is the place. Like, the fireplace is right. It's the scene, like I said, where Lloyd lights his fart. So I said to Colin, like, this is it. And then, I can't remember if you said it or if I said it, but one of us said to the waiter, like, they filmed Dumb and Dumber here. And then the persona of the waiter drops, and he's like, oh yeah, that's where he lights his ass on fire. So then we're like, okay, this guy is cool, this guy's cool. So then we just talk about that for a minute, about Dumb and Dumber. And we're like, all right, see you later. So then we just leave and go downstairs. And then we're waiting for the valet. Like, I give him the ticket, and then I just take, like, all the rest of the money out of my wallet. And I'm just like,
we gave them very nice tips.
Yeah, we were trying to think of like what a nice tip is, because I was like, $20 sounds insane, but again, I'm like, I don't know the unspoken rules of restaurants. Is like, is that cheap for a place like this? But all he did was park my car like 10 feet away. So maybe I don't know if maybe it wasn't really nice, but to me it seemed like a lot to give this guy $25. Which, complete side note, the other time I got valet was like a month before, when Jason and I went to Vegas, and it was just like this dumpy hotel. So I gave the guy $5, and immediately he's like, hey man, anything you need, anything at all, I'm your guy. So I'm just like, well, $5 is clearly enough in Vegas to get like hookers and cocaine from the valet. So hopefully $25 is enough in a classy place like this. Oh my God, but you tell the next part of the story where so I finally get back in the car.
Oh yeah, so
well, actually, wait, real quick, sorry, not to cut you off, but I tip him, and then just told him, like, again, I'm very sorry for the car. He's like, hey, no worries, man, you're on a road trip.
Yeah,
So
he's like, I
like,
get it, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, thank God. Well, can I have my money back then? Because if you already got it, then you don't need the money.
Yeah.
But then, say this part.
So we get back in the car, and then we start driving down the hill, but we drove down the wrong way.
Yeah, we drove back into the parking section.
So we drove exactly where he came from to come get our car. So it's just a dead end down this hill to the parking lot. And we just drove back down.
Yeah, there's no way to get out. So then immediately I'm like, hey guys, sorry for screwing up your night. And they're like, no, it's fine. And then I take my car. I'm like, don't worry, we're actually classy. And then I just immediately go the wrong way. And then I have to pull a 3-point turn, and like, and I'm digging up the grass in a vineyard or whatever. And I get stuck, but no, we finally get out.
Then we come back up to, okay, now we're leaving. And then go back the right way.
Just wanted to check that, they filmed Dumb and Dumber here too. Okay, timeout. I have to pee real fast.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody, timeout.
So yeah,
okay, I'm interrupting again, just to say to everybody at home, this is every detail of the trip. That's all.
Okay. So we left the restaurant and just went back to our hotel. And it wasn't that late, so we went back.
Yeah.
And the hotel was nice, so there was like a nice fireplace outside. So as we do, we went outside and just hung out by the fireplace and reminisced on the hilarious night we just had at the restaurant.
Well, we wanted to go to the hotel bar.
Yeah, we wanted to go to the hotel bar, but it was closed.
Unfortunately. But we already had in our minds that we wanted to get plastered drunk to forget the embarrassing night we just had.
Yeah.
After we reminisced about it, we realized how embarrassing it was. So we were like, let's drink our sorrows away. But the only thing, there wasn't any bars nearby. Or maybe that's where... No, sorry. So we asked the lady behind the counter if there's if the bar's open, and she said no, but there is one that's like a 15-minute walk. And it's like 30 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, thank you. Which, if I knew how cold it was going to be in here, I guess 30 degrees doesn't sound so bad. But the only thing, there was a 7-Eleven in the parking lot right next to the hotel, so we just walked down to 7-Eleven and just got 2 tall boy Heinekens and just went back up to the room and watched Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah. And then neither of us realized we're running off of 2 hours of sleep. So almost immediately we crack open our beer, drink 2 sips, and then immediately just pass out because we're like, oh wait, yeah, we're tired. What are we thinking? But that was pretty much all. So then, the next morning we just wake up and drive. Well, the plan was, I won't say the city, but basically I lived where Zion is, and then drove up to Salt Lake. And the next day our plan was to go down to the Grand Canyon, which sounds crazy. I've said that to people and they're like, why would you do both? It's like, because this would be fun. I don't know. Who cares? So we literally have to take the exact way we just came. The start of the road trip, the first 2 days are the exact same road on the opposite direction. So we go down towards Arizona. And that drive, it wasn't actually that bad. I remember it being longer to get
definitely,
there.
it felt longer getting there, so we were kind of worried about that drive. But it actually went by fast.
Yeah, it was quick. So we get into Arizona. I'm driving, and basically just like, okay, put in the Grand Canyon and the GPS, which
Yeah.
I was driving, right? Or were you driving?
I was driving into the Grand Canyon.
Okay. I take it back. So Colin's driving, I'm manning the GPS, and I just put in Grand Canyon. And we had thought before, like, or you had looked it up, like what Grand Canyon tourist part, and you had read like, oh, well, the South Rim is here and the North Rim is here, but well, I don't remember what it said. What did it say?
Like the South Rim was the nicest views, but it's touristy, and the North Rim is just quieter.
Yeah.
And the North Rim, with where we were coming from, made the most sense. Like the South Rim was too
Yeah,
far
it would have
away.
saved us like 2 hours to go to the North Rim. So we just decided, well, let's just do that. But obviously, like I knew there was 2 different rims after you said that, but it didn't really occur to me like what that meant. Because I just picture the Grand Canyon, you just think of like just the red rocks and you're just overlooking this freaking giant pit. So Colin's driving and I just type in Grand Canyon and we start driving and it had kind of snowed. Like we saw some snow the day before driving up towards Salt Lake, but then once we get into Arizona, it's just covered in snow. And then we're just like, well, this doesn't make sense in our heads at all. Like Arizona's hot, it's more south than Utah, and it's 80 degrees in Utah, or like at least where I was from in Utah. How is there snow here? And it just kind of completely threw us off. So we're driving and we're like, it's just, as soon as you get into like technically the Grand Canyon, where it's just like the government land, like there's no gas stations, there's nothing. So that's the 20 minutes before we officially get to where the GPS says to stop, and there's just nothing around. And then I think there's like 2 minutes as the GPS says we'll be there in 2 minutes, and there's just still nothing, and it's just snow and pine trees.
Still snow and pine. Yeah, I kept thinking like, well, this is going to disappear at some point. It's just going to become red, but we're only 2 minutes away, so I don't know when that's going to happen.
We're like, oh, it's supposed to be hot and red here, and all I see is snow and pine trees. Like, where's the Grand Canyon? Yeah, the GPS says we're 2 minutes away. So then we're just cracking jokes like, maybe I typed in like the Grand Canyon High School. Like, what do we do? Because there's no way we're in the right place here. And we finally, the GPS, it says you're 10 feet away, or finally you've arrived, and it's just technically the Grand Canyon, which is where the booth is, where you pay to park. So we were like, well, this is it. Like, what is this? Because this ain't the Grand Canyon. We still are freaking in the middle of the snow, and you're driving, so you're just like, what are we doing?
I know.
Like, but we decided, like, well, let's just keep going straight. Like, there's no more road on the GPS, but you can zoom out and see, like, there's clearly something.
Yeah, there's something ahead.
Yeah, so we just decided to keep driving, and it was probably another 15 minutes from that point where we finally... Well, it's still, I don't know. I mean, I want to say finally, like it was very long before there was even a hint, like through the trees. You're driving up this huge hill.
Yeah.
You can't see anything but trees. And then finally you see like through the trees, the other side of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it was a long time, because there was a point where I didn't think we were there. Like I thought we had gone to the wrong place after driving for so long.
Yeah. But because even, like, luckily we could see it through the trees, because even when we finally got to the parking lot of the Grand Canyon where there's all these cabins and everything, like, unless you know right where to look, it still just looks like you're in the middle of like a weird winter campsite.
Yeah.
But we just parked and then walked the 25 feet to the edge of the parking lot, where then it's just the drop off, and through the, like, once you pass through the trees, then there's the Grand Canyon. Which I'll turn it back to you again.
Yeah. So yeah, we went to the first overlook, got some sweet pictures. But yeah, and like the North Rim is just like we talked about this, like it's definitely our type of vibe when we're going to see the Grand Canyon. Like it's just all log cabins, and it feels like you're in the forest, and it's just quiet. Like that's exactly how we would want it.
Right. And I don't know what the South Rim is like, but there was, at least here, there's no tour guides. Like there's the cabins and everything, but there wasn't anyone working to say, like, I don't even know if you ordered a cabin, like how you would even do that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see anybody working there that would be there to like help you like get into your room or whatever. But then we just had, but it was nice because we just had free reign at the Grand Canyon. Like there wasn't a tour guide or anything like that showed you where to go. Like we kind of just had it, like it was just up to us where we wanted to go, how long we wanted to be there, and we kind of just walked all around it by ourselves.
Yeah. And yeah, there were sweet like walkout overlooks that we could go. There's probably 3 of them in total. So yeah, we went on those. Like we gave ourselves in our schedule that we came up with, probably, I can't remember.
I mean, we were there for more than 2 hours. We probably said an hour on the schedule.
But yeah, we were there a long time. I mean, yeah, because it was awesome, obviously. But So yeah, I mean, there was little trails to get to the overlooks that were cool. And then there was one overlook that like looked better than the other ones.
Yeah, it went the farthest out into the canyon.
Yeah, but and there was like a full family at the end of it. So we're like, okay, we'll wait that one out. And then after like 20 minutes, they're still there.
Yeah, they're like taking each individual picture of each kid. They have 10 kids with them, and each kid is getting 15 pictures at least. I mean, more than that. I mean, it took forever. We were there for at least 20 minutes waiting for this family to leave, and they did not.
Yeah, I don't think they ever left. I don't think we went to the end of that overlook.
Yeah, no, we didn't. And the one guy, we got close to it. I mean, we walked out to it kind of to show like, hey, we're next, but they never budged. And the guy was talking to us, and he was like, yeah, do you know the other overlooks? And I was like, yeah, there's one up there. And he's like, yeah, but that one's closed. But it's like, okay, so if you are aware enough of which overlooks are closed, like, what are you asking me for? Like, you've clearly been to all of them. I don't know. There's only 3. So it's just like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I mean, that just bothered me because it's just like, all right, dude, we're not friends. In fact, I hate you, and now you're making me even more mad. Like, I'm just gonna have some general chit chat with you, and you're still being an asshole. Oh, how's this like?
Oh, and remember there was the mom, the grandma, and then this little girl.
Yeah.
And the girl, I mean, she's a little girl. What do you expect? But she was, I mean, running around, not dangerous.
She could have been better behaved. Yeah. But for a kid, like, you can't really blame her.
Yeah, but the mom was just screaming at her, like, stop that!
Oh, yeah,
stop that.
It was, I mean, you don't have to take credit for this opinion, but it was a real fat lady mom and then an old grandma. And then, so the mom was, like, scared to walk out on anything, but the grandma and the daughter would go. But the daughter would run away from the grandma, and then the mom was too fat to walk, so she would just, her only option was to scream at the kid. Like, she couldn't run after her. So yeah, the second as this girl was like, this is the most beautiful place on earth, the mom would be like, hey, you fucking bitch, get back here, I'll kill you. So it was just like ruining the vibe, because it was only like 4 other families there, and it was the photo family, and then us, and then probably a nice family, and then the crazy family that were just yelling. Like, I mean, you're in the middle of the woods, in the middle, like 20 miles from any civilization. So we could even hear them when we were walking on our own. We could just hear this mother yelling at her daughter. And it's just like I said, yeah, maybe the girl could have been better behaved, but like, I'm not surprised that's how she acts, because like the mom's immediate reaction is just to like flip out on the daughter. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, that was just, I mean, it was funny. Certainly didn't ruin it, but it was notable. Like, yeah, this lady's insane. Like, relax.
Yeah, and then there was a couple where, like the mom, after every time they took another step, the wife was like, wait, did we get a picture from this angle?
Yeah. So they go out on the beautiful angle of the overlook and take a picture, and then they're walking back and they get halfway to the steps back up to the canyon part or whatever, like back up to the grass. But they're halfway from the overlook, and they go, wait, let's get one from here. Yeah, like Colin said, literally every step they took was technically a different angle, so they got a picture from that angle. And it was just like, what do these people do? Like, I'm glad we went, but and we got our pictures, but we didn't feel the need to be like, we need to get a billion pictures here. It was like, let's get a cool one from the overlook, and that's all we need. Like, everything else, take a picture in your mind and don't just rely on your freaking phone or whatever, just so you can show it off to people later. Like, yeah, we were at the Grand Canyon. Yeah. It's like,
nobody we got one where you halfway mooned the camera. We got our funny one, of course.
Yeah, I mooned the camera. That's my move in National Park. I think that was pretty much all. The gift shop, like I said, there was no tour guides there. So we wanted to go. Well, I need to go to the bathroom, but even the bathrooms are closed. The gift shops were closed. Like, we wanted to get shirts and stuff, but there was just nothing to get. So I think you and I both peed on the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, we peed at the Grand Canyon.
Peed in public because there was no there's no bathrooms. Sorry. But, well, yeah, that was also, then we leave and we head toward the next stop in the trip. Like, we obviously left that morning from Salt Lake, got to the Grand Canyon, and then our plan for that night was to make it to Albuquerque. or as far as we could get. Yeah. Because that's a long day of driving. Yeah, so at least we knew that our next big stop was Albuquerque, so we had nothing else planned. Let's just drive as far as we can go from, I don't even know what city the Grand Canyon's in, but somewhere in the middle of Arizona. So we start driving.
But after we got out of the Grand Canyon, we stopped at the gas station, and guess who, do you remember who we saw there? It was the mom and the little girl.
Oh, yeah. We're like an hour away from the Grand Canyon. We stopped to get waters and go pee and to get Pringles or whatever. And the freaking old lady and the mom and the daughter were all there.
Doing exactly what we would expect. The daughter was going around looking at grabbing candy or whatever, and the mom's like, "Don't touch that!" Just everything. I'm like, oh great, we can't escape these people. They're even at the gas station.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, so we start driving, and this, I'll let you take this over. This was the worst drive of the trip, in my opinion, was driving from the middle of Arizona into the middle of New Mexico.
Yeah. Because when the sun was going down, it was cool because it was really cool scenery.
Oh, yeah, that was
And there was,
that was fun.
And there was a cool overlook. We pulled over and saw as the sun was going down. So that was cool.
I moved that. Well, real quick story about that because I'll show the pictures. We make this curve driving through the mountains, and you make this big curve, and then finally it's just nothing. You just see finally like the Utah, Arizona, New Mexico landscape where it's just flat but huge mountains out in the distance. So it's finally like as soon as you make this turn, it's there, and there's a place to pull off. So Colin and I pulled off, and there's only one other car parked. And when Colin got out of the car, I think I was driving, I can't remember, but either way, when you got out of the car, you looked at the car next to us and went, oh, like there's nobody in that car. Okay, whatever. Well, get my camera out because I'm going to moon the camera. So, so we take a couple pictures of like this nice overlook, this from the overlook, and then Colin's got the camera, so I pull my pants down and just moon the camera with my underpants on. And then as soon as I pull my pants back up, you just hear that other person's car start. And then we turn around, there's a person in the car. So I'm just like, oh, well, thanks, Colin. Like, you told me there's no one in that. And it's literally us and this guy are the only people in a 50-mile radius. And I just freaking mooned him.
So sorry about that.
Anyway, so then I started driving, and I could tell I was tired. I didn't want to ruin the vibe, so I didn't want to tell Colin like how tired I was. But I knew like I could fall asleep right now if I had to. And there's probably 6 hours left in the drive if we were going to make it all the way to Albuquerque. Which, like we said, we didn't have to, but I definitely didn't want to stop 6 hours short. So it was like, well, we got no choice. We just got to drive. So I start driving for a while, and like as time goes on, there's just less and less stuff around. There's less. I don't even remember there being like street lights.
Yeah, no, that's the thing you were saying. Like, yeah, once it gets dark and you're in that area of the country, like there's nothing to look at as a driver except the lights in the road ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
it's so hard to stay focused.
Right, yeah. It's one thing. I mean, it's already hard driving tired, but at least if we were in a city, you would have, like, you'd be distracted. There's enough, like, okay, there's a gas station 10 miles ahead. I can see the light just barely. There is nothing for, like, at least 3 hours. I think it was all, like, Native American reservation stuff, so it was just, like, which I wouldn't mind driving through that in the day. Like that would have been a cool thing to appreciate, like there just being nothing in the day, but at night it would just piss me off because I'm already tired, and now this is just like a scenic lullaby. I'm just about to freaking fall asleep.
Yeah, we were wondering, why don't they build a Burger King out here or something? There needs to be something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was just screaming about that for like an hour, and I think at that point you had changed, like you were driving and we were just still in the middle of nowhere, so then I was just going on a huge rant of like, just like, yeah, where there's not even a hospital, where are the schools, like what do these Native Americans do all day? Like there's nothing to do.
Yeah, that's how we would pass time. You ranting about something, or you singing your own versions of songs.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually how time would pass. I would pick a song, or I'd YouTube the karaoke version on the karaoke version of a song. Then I'd give you a topic or a movie, and then you'd sing the whole song with your own lyrics.
Yeah. Well, did that help time pass for you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I was gonna say that if you told me to like, hey, just come up with a random bit or just do a song or whatever. Because there were the other times we were like pretending to be family members and just doing like a TV show, fly on the wall in this person's house, like. Whatever, this might not sound funny, but it was like I went on for an hour of just how this episode would go if you had to fly on the wall at my grandparents' house. And as soon as I would finish the episode, then I would go, what just happened? Like I turn around and be like,
so in the zone,
yeah, like how much time just passed? And Colin would be like, oh, an hour? It's like, really? Oh my gosh. So that would just freaking burn time. So yeah, that was all we could do to just entertain ourselves, is just come up with bits. But it was freaking tough because then, so you started driving, like we're still on this reservation. And you were driving, and I was tired, and I was trying to fall asleep, but I was just too nervous. Like I was like, if there's any time in the trip that there's going to be a problem, it's going to be now. Just like that's just how it's going to go, because we're literally we drove 100 miles from that way, and there's nothing, and I don't know what the heck is in front of us. So it's just like I can't even fall asleep as much as I'd like to. So it just bugged me, because it gave me no choice but to be constantly awake. And then So we're still probably at least 3 hours from Albuquerque. And before we switched over to you driving, we stopped for food. And I looked ahead on the GPS and saw like, okay, there's something ahead because I put in fast food and there was fast food restaurants. Like there's stuff up there. Maybe even we'll get a hotel like if we had to because I'm beat.
Yeah.
But we pull off the highway, or I don't even know if we pulled off, but we're just driving through back roads. Like it was basically the highway. You can go 60 miles an hour and there's just nothing around. So we finally get to this rest area kind of thing where there's just finally the first bits of civilization after 2 hours. And the only thing they had was a KFC, a gas station, and a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And it was like, or they had a Little Caesars and
but
stuff.
it was closed.
Yeah, the Little Caesars was closed. Like everything was just either closed. Like the only thing that wasn't closed was KFC and Taco Bell. And it was just like, holy shit. Like we just drove for so long, finally see something. We get there and everything's closed but Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And I already didn't want to do fast food. And I definitely didn't want to do Taco Bell because of what happened at Zion.
Yeah.
But we had no choice. But like, okay, we got a 3-hour drive with maybe nothing between now and Albuquerque. Let's eat Taco Bell, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. So we just ate Taco Bell, and then that's when you started
Yeah,
driving.
it's because I remember because we had committed. We're like, okay, if we're gonna get to Albuquerque tonight, even if it's at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So it was gonna be me starting that portion of the drive. So I said, okay, and I know we got Red Bulls because I had never had a Red Bull in like years. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna drink a Red Bull, eat these 3 soft tacos. I'm gonna get us to Albuquerque. Like that was my mindset. But that was the only time throughout the whole trip where like I was actually tired driving as we were making our way to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made it for however long until we switched.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I would say a little over an hour left in the drive before we got to Albuquerque where you and I switched. And then I was tired too because I was supposed to nap. That was when I was in the passenger seat, but I didn't sleep. And then I start driving, and then within 15 minutes, Colin falls asleep. And I'm like, shit. I was like, I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to wake him up. But I could really use some distractions, right? Like there's already nothing going on. And I look over and Colin's just got his head tucked in a pillow. Daydreaming of gumdrops or whatever the heck. So then the only thing I could do to pass time was I wouldn't play a song on my phone unless it was at least like 6 minutes long. So like Runaway by Kanye West came on and I was like, okay, I'll let that play because that's a 10-minute song and I'll know when it's over. Like, okay, I just made it 10 minutes. Like if I listen to too much, this isn't normally how I am, but like I was like, I don't want a 2-minute song because it's going to make me think time's going by quicker than it is, and it's not.
Yeah.
And then I just had the freaking cold air blasting on my hands in the car, and then every 10 minutes when they'd get cold enough, I would just tuck them under my shirt and just like wake myself back up because it was like so cold that it was killing me.
Yeah,
so
that's a good tip for anyone doing a long road trip. Yeah, just have the AC blasting on your knuckles when you're driving,
and then just
like,
touch
that will
your
keep
face.
You awake. Yeah.
And then and I was wearing a sweatshirt and t-shirt and everything. So once I'd finally put my hands under my shirt, it's just like because the only part of your body that's cold is your hands. Anyway, whatever. So we finally get to Albuquerque. And it's, what did you say? We pulled into that hotel
was,
3 in the morning?
Yeah, it was 3 in the morning.
Oh my
2:50
God.
or something, yeah.
And this was only the second night, but our plan was that we were going to book hotels like in the car while we drove. And it didn't occur to us until 11:59 to book the hotel because you came up, we didn't really care. Like we figured, well, hang on, let me see. Is this how it went? That it didn't really matter to us when we booked the hotel, but then you came up with the idea that we should go to the one from Breaking Bad. And then it was like, okay, well then let's definitely go on and reserve it because that'll be a cool hotel. That'd be a shame to like piss away.
Yeah.
So it's 11:59 and you came up with that idea. So then we go on to Priceline to just book the hotel, and then the time switched. So it wasn't letting us, it turned to midnight and it wasn't letting us book a hotel for that night because technically that night was the next night. It was like we were driving Sunday into Monday. And if we wanted to book a hotel, it was going to be technically from Monday night into Tuesday. So then we called the hotel and we're like, hey, is there a room tonight? It's not letting us book it online. And they were like, yeah, but you're just going to have to come in and do it yourself. Anyway, all that being said, when we finally get to Albuquerque, it's 3 in the morning and we walk into the hotel. I am so tired. It is only the second night of the trip and I'm just like, oh God, this is going to suck. And I just tell, like, Colin, you went to the bathroom and I booked the room. And while you were gone, the lady's like, okay, that'll be $250. And it was just like, whatever. You could make it $5,000. I just need to freaking fall asleep. So that was the most expensive hotel we had on the trip, or at least that we booked. There was another one more expensive, but that one was planned at least. But we stayed at, so it's you say what episode it was from. I can't remember.
It's in the last season when it's after Jesse pours all the gas in his house and he needs him, Skylar, and Walt Jr. to go to a hotel for that night. So it's that
he's
hotel.
afraid Jesse's going to kill him. He had a pump malfunction.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that hotel that he stays at is like an actual casino in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to pee again. So before we get into our day, the next morning in Albuquerque, I'm going to use the John. Not even an hour yet, I've peed twice. So imagine Colin's pissed offness when I had to stop every half an hour to go pee in the freaking road trip. And there was a couple times we just pulled over and I went on the side of the road.
Yeah.
In fact, like 5. But so we're staying in Albuquerque, fall right asleep, wake up the next morning, and we're staying at a casino. I was like, well, it'd be a shame if I didn't win any money here. So we go down, I put $20 in a slot machine, immediately piss it all away. Yep. And then we make our way towards the Grand Tour. Albuquerque, Breaking Bad. We went on the Breaking Bad tour, and we just looked up everything online and just did it. I mean, there's buses and stuff that go. Like, we bumped into a tour guide or tour bus along the way, but we just wanted to do it ourselves.
Yeah, because because there's that tour bus, that goes through Albuquerque and does that. But like, there's stuff that we would want to see that definitely wouldn't be on a tour bus, like random spots, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. So we like that morning we woke up, we just wrote down every place we wanted to see, and then mapped out the day, like a route that made sense to see everything. And
but what all did we see? I've been yapping so much. I wanna.
Well, the first place we went to was Los Pollos Hermanos, which is Twister's, like a fast food Mexican restaurant in Albuquerque. So we went there, and there's a cool Breaking Bad section there, so that was cool. But yeah, like it was all Mexican food, but there was one chicken patty or something on the menu.
There's a chicken sandwich that I got. I think you just got a burger.
Yeah, I got a burger. I didn't even get But yeah, it was pretty obvious. They're like, oh, we should probably have chicken on the menu if people are only coming here because of Los Pollos Hermanos. And just a frozen patty.
Yeah, it was seriously just a Walmart chicken patty with like Mexican salsa on it. I mean, it was fine. It was just funny.
Yeah.
And that was our breakfast. And I already have stomach issues, and that was the way we started the day.
Yeah, that was our breakfast.
I just ate Mexican food.
But yeah, because there was a tour at Twister's when we were there.
Yeah.
So we heard there was like the guide was
tour
talking
guide.
about. Yeah, all the people sat down and were eating at Twister's. And the tour guide was like, okay, and out here is where Gus Fring came out in his yellow shirt. Like just saying BS to these people.
Yeah, and weren't you saying like, because he's like, this is exactly where the cousins sat, and this is where they've met, and this is where these people were, and you're like, that's not true at all.
Yeah,
like, I've watched the show 100 times.
He's just making this stuff up. He doesn't know.
We had both seen the show so much, we're like, that's actually not where they sat at all. But okay.
Yeah.
But that's funny. If you're ever looking for a part-time job, talk to me. Anyway, sorry. Okay, where do we go next? Where we go?
After that, we went to the doghouse.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. We went to Tuco's warehouse.
Oh yeah,
next.
okay. So yeah, it was Tuco's warehouse where he says this is not meth, and he throws the thing down. So that building we went to.
And then right after that is Jesse and Chuck's house. Chuck from Better Call Saul and Jesse's house where they filmed it are literally like on the same block. And Chuck's house was cool because that's where it was like on I don't want to say a cul-de-sac even, but it was around, it was a circular road, and in the middle of it is like a park. So the scene from Better Call Saul after like Chuck dies and stuff spoiler alert, and what's her name, Kim and Jimmy are sitting outside the house, like that's just filmed right in front of the house. So we sat on the bench there and whatever, pretended we were Kim and Saul.
Yeah, because at most of these places we just stopped and looked at it and then left. But Chuck's house we sat on the bench and soaked in it because that was just a cool neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we saw Chuck's house, then Jesse's first house.
Yeah.
Or what?
You pulled into the driveway, like Jesse's aunt's house that then he buys or whatever.
Yeah, and we had to turn around, so I pulled in Jesse's driveway.
Yeah, that was cool.
Around,
I can't remember the order. I mean, I know the other stuff we saw. We saw the doghouse. We saw the car wash. We saw the laundry. We saw. Which say that part about like.
Oh yeah, the laundry. Because we were trying to see how to get to the laundry, and you had it in the GPS, and I was driving throughout the whole tour. And I passed it. And then you said, "Oh, you just passed it," and then that exact thing happens in the show when Hank is trying to get Walt to take him there, but Walt passes it, and Hank says, "What are you doing? You just missed it." Like, that's exactly
Pump a Yui up here. Bang a Yui up here. Yeah, so we did. We had to bang a Yui and turn back around to get into the parking lot.
Do it.
And then we went to Walt's house.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I mean, if anyone's interested in that sort of thing, you know that the lady that owns that house hates the fans. Probably rightfully so, honestly. I'm sure that's just a pain in the ass
annoying people
to constantly just have people outside your house taking pictures. So it's unlike the show, in real life, the house is has a chain link fence around it and just a bunch of signs and parking cones that are like, do not come here or I'll kill you.
Yeah, and like even up to the front door, that little area, like she has that fenced off.
Yeah, it's completely gated off. It's crazy, but I honestly can't blame her. And I feel bad for her because it's like, okay, have fun selling that house. Like, oh, that must suck.
But yeah, like that neighborhood was cool because there's other stuff they filmed in the show, like on some of the streets.
Right, the episode, this is only if you love Breaking Bad, but Ozymandias, best episode in the show when Walt kidnaps Holly and just backs into Skylar's car and just pushes it the entire way into the... Or he takes Skylar's car and backs the truck all the way into the street, right? I can't remember.
No, he got in the truck.
Oh, wait, yeah, he's in the truck. Skylar pulls up, and then he takes the kid, backs the whole way out, and then Skylar sprints in the road. Okay, maybe I'm not a big fan. But, like, yeah, I mean, that's not surprisingly filmed in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't going to film that anywhere else. But it was cool once you turned onto that road to be like, oh, yeah, this is in the show. Like, it just clicked like, well, yeah, this is the turn. This is where they do all that stuff. So that was cool. I mean, that was a very fun thing to do on the trip.
Yeah.
We saw Saul's office,
Hank and Marie's
house, and then we went to HHM.
Yep.
So, which was funny. You could tell
HHM was funny because it's just like a business park with all these buildings that kind of look the same, like similar colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we drove up to the building we thought it was, and I wasn't thinking. I just said, "Wow, this is it. This is HHM." and I knew that they had filmed. Like the lobby was the same building, the interior shots. So I went and peeked my head in the window, and I was like, well, that's not it. And then we realized, well, this isn't even the right building.
So there's just pictures on my phone of this random building because I'm like, wow, like Colin said, wow, HHM. And then we realized, oh, wait, no, it's that gigantic one over there.
Yeah. So we went to the actual one and then went into the lobby. And it was just cool. That was the
because we were like, well, it's just a business park. Like, let's just walk in.
Yeah.
Like the doors aren't going to be locked. So we just walk in. And then I have like a big camera around me, and then you're just like taking pictures, and the security guy's like, "Hey, get out of here! You can't be taking pictures." Yeah, so we got scolded, but it's like, well, I already got the picture, so that we bailed. I think that was all we saw of the Breaking Bad stuff.
That was the last stop, right?
Yeah, and then we start. Well, actually, we'll stop it there. We've been going for an hour. This is a Patreon exclusive, so for right now, we'll do a timeout. We'll do a part 2 again soon. We'll film it. We're going to film it right now. Anyway, that's all. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If this was fun, well, guess what? There's a whole part 2. We're only 3 days into the trip.
And the best part is yet to come. The best part of the whole trip.
Oh, yeah. If you thought the Breaking Bad stuff was cool, be ready. But, all right, everybody. We will talk to you shortly, or maybe a week or whatever, anyway. I don't know how to end these. I guess I'm just saying this is the end of part 1. We'll see you in part 2 in 2 seconds.
Yep.
Bye.
How was that, everybody? Did you enjoy it? Thank you for sitting and watching that, and thank you for putting up with what is a kind of goofy episode, just a sneak preview of the Patreon. Like I said, next week we will have a regular Hotel Charlie episode as scheduled, so don't fear. Don't fear, everybody. We'll be back. But I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a Happy New Year, and like I said, if you want to check out part 2, go check out the Patreon. It's $1. You could give me $50 if you want, but it's only $1 for the minimum tier, and that gets you everything you want. Don't worry. So thank you, everyone, for checking that out, and I hope you all had a very, very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, and a great New Year. Now, don't get too drunk. You got to be up till midnight to watch that ball drop so you can kiss your mom on the lips. I'll see you guys all next week with a regular episode of Hotel Charlie. Goodbye, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. Goodbye, everybody.